दक्षिणामूर्तिसारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् रमणाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये आङ्गिकं भुवनं यस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं नमः सात्विकं शिवम् अरुणाचलरूपेण परिणाममुपागतम् तेजोमयं परं ब्रह्म ज्ञानाय मम जायता। Namo Ramana. Prostrations to all the satsangis who are present here as the Swarupa of Ramana. ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಎನಿತೋ ಸುಲಭಯೇನು ಸರಳವೋ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯಿಂದ ತಿಳಿಯ ಬರುವ ಜನರೇ ವಿರಳವೋ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಎನಿತೋ ಸುಲಭ ಏನು ಸರಳವೋ ಆತ್ಮವು ಅತಿ ದುರ್ಬಲನಿಗೂ ಸತ್ಯವಾದುದೋ ನೋಡೆ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿಯ ನೆಲ್ಲಿಕಾಯೆ ಮಿಥ್ಯವಾದುದೋ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಎನಿತೋ ಸುಲಭ ಏನು ಸರಳವೋ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯಿಂದ ತಿಳಿಯ ಬರುವ ಜನರೇ ವಿರಳವೋ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಎನಿತೋ ಸುಲಭ ಏನು ಸರಳವೋ ಆತ್ಮ ಒಂದೇ ಶಕ್ತ ಅದೇ ಸತ್ಯ ನೂತನ ಈ ದೇಹ ಲೋಕ ಅದರಿಂದಲೇ ಬಂದ ವಿಭ್ರಮ ಆತ್ಮ ಒಂದೇ ಶಕ್ತ ಅದೇ ಸತ್ಯ ನೂತನ ಈ ದೇಹ ಲೋಕ ಅದರಿಂದಲೇ ಬಂದ ವಿಭ್ರಮ ಭ್ರಮೆಯ ತೆರೆಯು ಕಳಚಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರಗಿದ ಘಳಿಗೆ ಭ್ರಮೆಯ ತೆರೆಯು ಕಳಚಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರಗಿದ ಘಳಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮ ಸೂರ್ಯ ಬೆಳಗುವನೋ ಹೃದಯದ ಒಳಗೆ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಎನಿತೋ ಸುಲಭ ಏನು ಸರಳವೋ ನಾನೇ ದೇಹ ಎನ್ನುವ ತಪ್ಪು ಸೂತ್ರವ ಹಿಡಿದು ಎನಿತೋ ಭಾವ ಜನಿಸಿಹವೋ ಅವುಗಳ ತೊರೆದು ನಾನೇ ದೇಹ ಎನ್ನುವ ತಪ್ಪು ಸೂತ್ರವ ಹಿಡಿದು ಎನಿತೋ ಭಾವ ಜನಿಸಿಹವೋ ಅವುಗಳ ತಡೆದು ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಎನ್ನುವ ಶೋಧನೆ ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಎನ್ನುವ ಶೋಧನೆ ನಡೆಯ ಸದಾ ಮೂಡಿ ಬರುವ ಆತ್ಮ ಸೂರ್ಯನೇ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಎನಿತೋ ಸುಲಭ ಏನು ಸರಳವೋ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯಿಂದ ತಿಳಿಯ ಬರುವ ಜನರೇ ವಿರಳವೋ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಎನಿತೋ ಸುಲಭ ಏನು ಸರಳವೋ The self-knowledge is very easy, says Bhagavan. The ones who find for it, the ones who want to attain it, are very less in number. Virala, he says. So, first, let us go to the question as to whether we know ourselves. First thing, if somebody asks us, who are you? The first immediate answer would be, My name, I am Revathi. I am this body. So many things. It goes on and on and on and on. When Vaniji used me, she said she gave a list of things which I am. My name is Revathi. My qualification is I've done my MA in Sanskrit. I've done MA in Bharatanatyam. I've done 2 diplomas, one in music and one in theatre for holistic development. I have passed many exams in music and dance with flying colors, and I am pursuing my PhD. I'm a teacher, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a co-sister, I'm a singer, I'm an editor, I'm a dancer. It goes on and on and on and on. If I have to write a precise note about myself, write about yourself in one line, I have to think about it. I have to think who I am. Among this list, which one am I? The list goes on and on. Likewise, there is a conversation which took place in Bhagavan's Sannidhi. I would like to read out that conversation as it is. There was a devotee, he came to Bhagavan and said, he asked Bhagavan, Bhagavan, have you seen God? Then Bhagavan said, why do you seek to know? And devotee said, if you have seen God, I would like you to help me to see God because I wish to see God. Ramana says, you say, I wish to see God. First tell me who you are. He says, you say, I wish to see God. First tell me who you are. So this devotee says, first thing, as I said, my name is Devadatta Sharma. And Bhagavan says, that is your name, but who are you? Who are you? Tell me that. He said, I have already told you that I am Sharma. I am a Brahmin. Bhagavan said, that is an indication of your caste. But who are you? He thinks about it for a while and says, I am a lecturer in a college. And Bhagavan says, that is your profession. But who are you? He says, I am a human being. Bhagavan says, that is your birth womb. But who are you? And the devotee says, I am a man. Ramana says, that is your gender. I would like to know who it is that desires to meet God. Then the devotee is perplexed. He says, it looks as if I do not know myself. Do I really know myself? He's totally confused. Ramana says, when you are not in a position to understand yourself, how will you be able to understand God? If you want to realize God, you must be aware who you are and who it is that desires to know God. When we don't know ourselves, what is the use of trying to know something which is different from us, which we don't know? First of all, the first person itself is not known. Then how will we know the second person or the third person? We never question as to who we are at all. If one does not have a proper understanding of oneself, whatever else one may know is as useless as it is very useless. If I don't know myself, if I keep trying to know about many things, what is the use of me knowing the height of the Himalayas or the depth of the Indian Ocean or the length and breadth of the acres of land people may have? Or what use is it to know whatever all facts which are happening in the world? What is the use of it without me knowing myself? Ramana puts it in a beautiful way. Of what use is it to know about the world if we remain ignorant about ourselves? Of what use is it to know about the world if we remain ignorant about ourselves? We don't know ourselves, but we want to know the world. We want to know God. We want to know something else. Again, he would say the truth about oneself alone is worthy of being scrutinized and known. There is nothing else which has to be known other than the self. But what are we doing? We are trying and going and learning many things from LKG till the PhD level. We try to learn many things. Of what use is it when I don't know myself? Who am I? Who am I is the question which will help us to know about ourselves. தன்னை அறிதலின்றி பின்னை எதறிகிலன். What? How can I know anything else without knowing myself? There is one more conversation which happened between Paul Brunton and Bhagavan Ramana. Paul Brunton asked Bhagavan Ramana, Maharshi, I have traveled much. I have studied all the Western philosophies. And now turn to the East for more light. I have heard many opinions, listened to many theories, but I am tired of anything which cannot be proved by personal experience. Is there anything beyond man's material existence? If so, how can I realize it for myself? Asks Paul Brunton. Then Bhagavan says, you say I. You say, I want to know. Tell me who is that I? Paul Brunton is confused and he asks, I'm afraid I do not understand your question. Bhagavan, he says, is it not clear? Think again. Paul Brunton thinks for a while and he points to himself and says, I am Paul Brunton. Bhagavan asks, and do you know him? Brunton, without even a thought, he says, all my life. I know myself all my life. What is the doubt about it? Then Bhagavan says, but that is only your body. Who are you? Know first that I, and then you shall know the truth. I'm not this body, but who am I? We have to know that first. What exactly is this self of which you speak? Asks Paul Brunton. If what you say is true, then there must be another self in man. Smilingly, Bhagavan says, can a man have two selves? A man cannot have two selves. To understand this, man must analyze himself. We have to inquire within ourselves. It has long been his habit to think of himself as others think. We keep thinking that I am this, I am that, because others keep saying, you're thin, you're fat, I am fat, I am a good person, I am a bad person, because others think that I am that. Have I faced myself at all? He has never faced his I. Man has never faced his I. Therefore, Bhagavan says, I tell you to pursue this enquiry, who am I? The first thought in the mind is the thought of I. Bhagavan says, the first thought in the mind is the thought of I. Only after it arises, any other thought can arise. Mentally follow the I until it leads it, when it is last thought to disappear. You will find it until the last thought disappears. There you'll find it. This is what Bhagavan says, "What is left then?" asks Paul Brunton. "Will a man be unconscious or will he become an idiot?" Paul Brunton asks, "If I ask myself who am I and everything disappears, what will be? What will remain? What is left then?" Then Bhagavan says, "Not so. On the contrary, he will attain that consciousness which is immortal." Bhagavan says, "On the contrary, he will attain that consciousness which is immortal. It is the basis of the mind. It is infinite, divine, eternal. Some people call it the kingdom of heaven. Others call it the soul. Still others name it as nirvana, and we call it liberation," Bhagavan says. "You may give it whatever name you wish to. When this happens, a man has not really lost himself. Rather, he has found himself. When we inquire into ourselves, what happens? All the thoughts are lost. There are no thoughts at all. Only the self remains. And there and then is when we realize that self. That is the fullness. That is not shunya. That is not emptiness. That is fullness. We are all ignorant about our true nature because we are ignorant of it. We keep searching for it and assume different forms. When we assume different forms, we become limited. We come away from the self and we become limited. Some forms we like and we hold on to it. Some forms we don't like and we are not able to leave it. We want to get rid of it. Hence, there is attachment and we have to let go. Bhagavan only knows that we are not this body, and he has beautifully given us this enquiry, self-enquiry, and in his Atma Vidya Kirtanam, he says, "Atmadali dehavide yendu ariyadeye dehadali ಆತ್ಮವಿದೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ನರನು ಆತ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಹವಿದೆ ಎಂದು ಅರಿಯದೆಯೇ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲೇ ಆತ್ಮವಿದೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ನರನು." A common man, what does he think? He thinks that the Atma is within the body. But actually, what is the truth? Only when we inquire, we will know that the body is actually in the Atma. The Atma is everywhere. The self is all pervasive. It is everywhere. We are in the self. But what does the common man think? Within me is the Atma. And I have to find that Atma within me. ಚಿತ್ರ ಶೋಭಿಸುತ್ತಿರಲು ತೆರೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ತೆರೆಯೇ ಚಿತ್ರದೊಳಿದೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ಪ್ರೇಕ್ಷಕನು ಚಿತ್ರ ಶೋಭಿಸುತ್ತಿರಲು ತೆರೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ತೆರೆಯೇ ಚಿತ್ರದೊಳಿದೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ಪ್ರೇಕ್ಷಕನು. Like the pictures appear on a screen, the pictures keep on going in a movie screen. When we are When we see the pictures, when we see the movie, what happens? We see only the picture and we forget the screen. We think the screen is also in the movie. But what is the truth? The truth is this: on the screen, all the pictures are appearing and disappearing. And the light makes the pictures to be seen. Without the light, there is no picture. You can't even see the screen. The light in the eyes of the seer makes us see the picture and the screen. ಹೊನ್ನು ಅದರ ಆತ್ಮವನು ಉಳಿದು ತನು ಒಂದು ಇರಲಹುದೇ. ಹೊನ್ನು ಅದರ ಆಭರಣ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆಗಳೇ. ಆತ್ಮವನು ಉಳಿದು ತನು ಒಂದು ಇರಲಹುದೇ. Can there be jewelry without gold? Can there be forms without the self? Any gold jewelry you see, it may take any form. It may be a bangle, it may be an earring, it may be a nose ring, it may be a chain, it may be a necklace. It will have gold in it. Without the gold, the forms cannot take shape at all. Likewise, without the self, there can be no forms at all. But what do we see? We see only the forms and not the self. ಅಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಭಾವಿಸುವ ತಾನು ತನುವೆಂದು ಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಮಾತ್ರವೇ ತಿಳಿವ ಆತ್ಮ ತಾನೆಂದು. ಅಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಭಾವಿಸುವ ತಾನು ತನುವೆಂದು ಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಮಾತ್ರವೇ ತಿಳಿವ ಆತ್ಮ ತನುವೆಂತಾನೆಂದು. ಆತ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಹವಿದೆ ಎಂದು ಅರಿಯದೆಯೇ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲೇ ಆತ್ಮವಿದೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ನರನು. An Ajnani thinks that this body is me. Ajnani alone knows that he is the self. In the song Atma Jnana Enito Sulabha Yenu Saralavo, the last paragraph was ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಎನಿತೋ ಸುಲಭ ಏನು ಸರಳವೋ. ನಾನೇ ದೇಹ ಎನ್ನುವ ತಪ್ಪು ಸೂತ್ರವ ಹಿಡಿದು ಎನಿತೋ ಭಾವ ಜನಿಸಿಹವೋ ಅವುಗಳ ತಡೆದು. I am this body. That is the first ajnana which we have got. We hold on to this. I am this body. I am this mind. That I rises and gives birth to so many untruth things which appear and which make us go into the whirlpool again and again and again. But Ajnani, he knows that Atma is everything and he never gets whirlpool and he is in that bliss all the time. Many things may happen around him. He also will participate around whatever is happening around him. He also will participate, but he knows that the Atma alone is, and that in that everything is happening. There is a story of the ugly duckling. Many of us may know this story. What happens is there are many eggs in a nest, and There is a huge egg in that nest, and there are small nest, huge egg in the nest, and small eggs are also there. All the nets, small eggs hatch, and they start moving at the right time. This huge egg takes a long time to hatch, and slowly it comes out, and then it moves. There is lot of difference between the other ducklings and this duckling. The other ducklings are small and cute, and they walk fast, and they get into the water, and they swim, and they are happily moving around. Their voice is very soft, and they keep making cute noises and get into the water. This duckling is big, huge. It's not, it doesn't look very beautiful. It looks ugly to the other ducklings. And then it doesn't know how to walk so fast. It goes slowly, and it is afraid of the water. It doesn't want to get into the water in the beginning. And the mother tries and helps the duckling to move into the water. The other small ducklings, they get into a group, and they just are happily spending time. They play with each other, and they are happy, and this duckling is left out. And the mother duck also says, it is difficult for me to take care of this duckling, because when I have to take care of 5 or 6, they are running away, and this is coming behind, and she also slowly disowns it. This ugly duckling, she feels very sad, and she's sitting in a corner. Slowly she's looking and gazing at the sky, and she's she sees a group of birds which are flying, and that makes her very happy. This bird also wants to join that group. Slowly she keeps seeing at that group, and one day somehow she manages and goes and joins that group. When she joins that group, there is one bird who comes and speaks to this ugly duckling. She asks her, "Why are you so sad? What makes you feel so sad? What is your story?" she asks. The bird says, "From when I was born itself, I didn't hatch at the right time. I took my own time, and all my siblings disowned me, and my mother also didn't want to take care of me because I was very slow. I was not doing what the other ducks were doing. So slowly I grew up, and once I saw this group of birds flying, and then I also wanted to join. I didn't know how to fly also. Slowly, somehow, I made it and joined your group." This, the other bird, who was a swan, she asks, "What is it that makes you sad? Because you were not part of the group? Or do you really know who you are? Question as to who you are," she asks. "When you were a small seed in your mother's womb, were you that passed, and you became an egg. After the embryo, you became an egg. And that egg also was gone. Question, were you that, or were you this egg? After that egg, you became into a small duckling that also passed. And slowly, when time passes, you have become into a bird. And that duckling said, somehow I could distinguish between milk and water. I got that quality. But of what use is it when nobody is accepting me? Then this swan asks, Nanu yaru, Nanu yaru, Nanu yaru, Nanu yaru, Nanu yaru, Nanu yaru. Every time your form was changing. Who is that form which is changing? Who is that? Who are you? Are you that seed? Are you that egg? Are you that small duckling? Or are you the one who knew to distinguish between water and milk? Or are you the one who's standing in front of me? Then this swan, this duckling who was a swan, she realized that there is a undercurrent which is always there from when I was born till now. That self is me. That is my nature. That is my true nature. And then she realizes that she was the swan. And when she realized that she was a swan, she could see the whole world as swans. She could see herself in everyone because the self has no form, no name. It is that when you realize yourself, you see it everywhere. And that is the beauty of the self. But why should we know this? Why should we know ourselves? Are we not happy doing what we are doing? Are we not happy being what we are? Bhagavan gives a beautiful example for this. There was a bud who was happy by herself. She said, Mother, to her mother, the flower mother, Mother, I am looking so beautiful. I want to be like this. She was a bud. So she was happy as she was, and she didn't want to blossom, and she didn't say she didn't want to blossom, but she was happy by herself. Her mother said, you are looking beautiful, beautiful, my child, but look at your grandmother. When she saw the grandmother, she was a bud and she had bloomed. Very beautifully, she had bloomed. And what happened when the grandmother bloomed? When she blossomed, what happened? There were bees coming to that flower. There were butterflies coming to that flower. There were human beings who came and took the flower and enjoyed the flower. Everywhere the children were happy seeing all the colorful flowers. It was so beautiful to look at. And the bud saw it and she said, yeah, grandmother is looking very beautiful. And after some time, she saw that once all the honey from the flowers were gone, when it was time, the flower withered and fell down. This bud felt very bad. She said, oh, grandmother has gone. She's no more. Mother said, no, no. Look, look. Grandmother has become a fruit from a flower. There was this beautiful fruit, fully ripe. When the fruit was ripe, It attracted so many squirrels. It attracted so many parrots. It attracted so many birds. It attracted all the human beings. There were so many people who could enjoy that fruit. And after each one came and enjoyed it and ate it, there was nothing left. This bud felt bad again. Oh my grandmother is no more now. She was a flower, then she withered and she became a fruit. No doubt she became a fruit. Now there is no more. The fruit is also no more. So, Mama, what happened to grandmother? Ma said, no, look. Within the fruit, there was a seed. And that seed, if you see, it is growing into a plant. And that plant is becoming a huge tree. And when you see the tree, there are so many flowers in that tree and so many fruits in that tree. And to all the flowers, there are bees coming, there are butterflies coming. To all the fruits, there are squirrels coming, parrots coming, birds coming and eating it. Human beings are also enjoying. They are not only enjoying the fruits and the flowers, but also the shade of the tree. And from all the fruits, there are many more seeds which are falling down. And what is happening? All those seeds are becoming into many more plants, many more trees. And the whole earth is filled with greenery. And when there's so much of greenery around, what happens is there is lot of rain. There is rain at the right time. And when there is rain, there is plenty for everybody. Why? Why there is plenty for everybody? Just because grandmother blossomed. The bird feels very happy about this. And then she says, Mother, I also want to blossom. Let me also blossom. And I also want to attain my fullness. Mother said, Yes, my child. If you just blossom and be, then your fullness is attained. Bhagavan tells us our role is to blossom fully and allow the grace to work. But why is it not possible for us to do so? What is the problem? Again and again, Bhagavan tells us, you are the self. But we are not able to be the self. This is because we are afraid. We don't want to let go. We just have to let go of the idea, the concept that we are this mind, we are this body. But we are afraid. We don't want to let go of this present state. Why? Because what if I'm left with anything? What if I'm left with nothing at all? If I question, for whom is this thought and who am I? There is nothing left. There are no thoughts. I'm afraid of that state. And if I'm neither here or nor there, what will happen to me? I don't have the full faith that I am the self. When I become the self, I am full. That is paripurna shakti. That is purnatva. Because I don't have the faith that I am the self, I don't want to attain. Nor I am disgusted about this being, this limited being, to leave it and go away. I don't have the faith, nor I'm disgusted with this limited being. For this, Bhagwan gives a beautiful story of the lion and the lion cub. ದಟ್ಟವಾದ ಒಂದು ಕಾಡು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಂಹರಾಜ, ಅವನ ಮುದ್ದು ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಅವಳೇ ಸಿಂಹರಾಣಿ. ದಟ್ಟವಾದ ಒಂದು ಕಾಡು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಂಹರಾಜ, ಅವನ ಮುದ್ದು ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಅವಳೇ ಸಿಂಹರಾಣಿ. There was a thick forest and there was this Simharaja in that forest. He was the king of the forest. And his beloved wife was the Simharani. They were both happy in the jungle. And then ಒಂದು ದಿನ ಸಿಂಹರಾಣಿ ಗರ್ಭವಾಗಿ ನಡೆದಳು. ನಗರದ ಅಂಗಳದಿ ತಾ ಬಂದು ಸೇರಿದಳು. ಹೆದರಿ ಜನರು ಅಟ್ಟಿದರು, ಸಿಂಹರಾಣಿ ಓಡಿದಳು. ಹೆದರಿ ಜನರು ಅಟ್ಟಿದರು, ಸಿಂಹರಾಣಿ ಓಡಿದಳು. ಕೂಸು ಸಿಂಹ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬಂತು ಕುರಿಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯದೊಳು. One day, this Simharani was pregnant and she went into the town. When she came into the town, people were afraid of her and then they started shooing her away. Then she didn't have an option and she tried to take shelter somewhere, and then this beautiful lion cub was born in between a group of sheep. ಸೂರ್ಯ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಕೋಳಿ ಕೂಗಿ ಬೆಳಕು ಬಂದು ಸರಿಯಿತು, ಸಿಂಹ ಮರಿಯು ಕಣ್ತೆರೆಯುತ ಅತ್ತಿತ್ತ ಓಡಿತು. ಸೂರ್ಯ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಕೋಳಿ ಕೂಗಿ ಬೆಳಕು ಬಂದು ಸರಿಯಿತು, ಸಿಂಹ ಮರಿಯು ಕಣ್ತೆರೆಯುತ ಅತ್ತಿತ್ತ ಓಡಿತು. ಮುರಿಯ ಮಂದಿ ನಡುವೆ ತಾನು ಬಂದು ಮರಿಯು ಸೇರಿತು, ಹಸಿವಿನಿಂದ ಕುರಿಗಳಂತೆ ಕೂಗಲು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿತು. The dawn set and the sun had come up, and this lion cub, it opened its eyes and saw itself among many sheep. And then when he saw all the sheep bleating, he also started bleating. He said, "Meh, meh," and then he moved everywhere. Because he was hungry, he also started bleating like the other sheep. ಕರುಣೆಯಿಂದ ತಾಯಿ ಕುರಿಯು ಮಗುವ ಹಸಿವ ತಣಿಸಿತು, ಸಿಂಹ ಮರಿ ಎಂದೆಣಿಸದೆ ಹಾಲನ್ನು ಉಣಿಸಿತು. ಸಮಯ ಹೀಗೆ ಕಳೆಯುತ್ತಲೇ ಕೂಸು ಬೆಳೆದು ನಿಂತಿತು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕುರಿಗಳ ಹಾಗೆ ಜೀವನವ ನಡೆಸಿತು. The mother is a mother. She didn't see this as a different. She didn't see this lion cub as something different from others. Since it was there, she gave him also some milk, and this cub was happily moving around like any other sheep. And then time passed, and this lion cub was a grown-up lion. ಹೀಗೆ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಏನಾಯಿತು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಸಿಂಹರಾಜ ಹಸಿದು ಬಂದು ನಗರದ ಕಡೆ ನಿಂತ. When this was happening, one day this Simharaja got into the town to hunt something. He was also hungry, so he came in and he started he wanted to attack these sheep. ಹುಲ್ಲು ತಿಂದು ಹೆದರಿ ಬೆದರಿ ಕುರಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಇದ್ದ ಮಗುವ ಕಂಡು ಮನಕರಗಿ ಸಿಂಹ ಒಲಿದು ಕರೆದ. He knew that his lion cub was missing. So suddenly he saw this lion cub and saw, oh, this is my kid. This is my cub, my son who was lost when he was young. So with lot of love, he said, come, my child, come to me. ಕಳೆದು ಹೋದ ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಹತ್ತಿರವ ಕಂದ, ನಿನ್ನ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ನೀನು ಮರೆತಿರುವೆ ಚಂದ. You have forgotten your true nature, oh my child. Come to me. You are the one who was lost when you were young. Come to me. You have forgotten your true nature. ಸಿಂಹನೀ ಕುರಿಯಲ್ಲ ನಡೆ ಈಗಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ, ಸಿಂಹನೀ ಕುರಿಯಲ್ಲ ನಡೆ ಈಗಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ, ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ವನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ರಾಜ್ಯವ ಆಳು ಎಂದ, ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ವನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ರಾಜ್ಯವ ಆಳು ಎಂದ. You come with me. You are not a sheep. You are a Simha, you are a lion. Come to me, come to the jungle and take care of the jungle. You become the king. You take care of that kingdom of mine. ನಡುಗುತ್ತಾ ಮಗು ಹೇಳಿತು ಇದು ನಿನ್ನ ಜಾಲವೇ, ನಡುಗುತ್ತಾ ಮಗು ಹೇಳಿತು ಇದು ನಿನ್ನ ಜಾಲವೇ, ನನ್ನ ಉಸಿರ ತೆಗೆದು ನೀನು ಉಣ್ಣಲು ಇದು ತಂತ್ರವೇ, ನನ್ನ ಉಸಿರ ತೆಗೆದು ನೀನು ಉಣ್ಣಲು ಇದು ತಂತ್ರವೇ. This child, this cub, he still doesn't know that he is the king. He's the lion. He's still unaware of his own true nature. He said, this is your tantra. It is your cunningness that you want to kill me. Because you want to kill me, you are saying all this. I'm not able to accept it. I will not agree to it. So what is it that you have to do? You go away. I'm not ready to come with you. ಸೊರಗಿಸೋತ ಕಂಠದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಂಹರಾಜ ಹೇಳಿದ, ಕುರಿಯ ಹಿಡಿದುದಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಜಾಲವೇ ಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊರಗಿಸೋತ ಕಂಠದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಂಹರಾಜ ಹೇಳಿದ, ಕುರಿಯ ಹಿಡಿಯುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಜಾಲವೇ ಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಸಿಂಹವಾಗಿ ಬದುಕಬೇಕು ಎಂಬ ಆಸೆ ಎತ್ತರೆ, ಸಿಂಹವಾಗಿ ಬದುಕಬೇಕು ಎಂಬ ಆಸೆ ಬಂದರೆ, ಎಂದಾದರೂ ಬಾ ಕಾಡಿಗೆ ನಿನಗಾಗೆ ಕಾಯುವೆ, ಎಂದಾದರೂ ಬಾ ಕಾಡಿಗೆ ನಿನಗಾಗೆ ಕಾಯುವೆ. With lot of compassion, he said, first he was feeling very sad. I need not do any tantra to kill a sheep. I just have to kill and take you away. But I know you are my child. If you want to live like a lion, then I'll wait for you. You come to me whenever you feel like coming, you come to me. Think about it, he says, and he leaves. ರಾಜಸಿಂಹ ಹೋದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮರಿ ವಿಚಾರ ತೊಡಗಿತು, ರಾಜಸಿಂಹ ಹೋದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮರಿ ವಿಚಾರ ತೊಡಗಿತು, ಬೆದರಿ ಬಾಳ್ವ ಕುರಿಗಳ ಕಂಡು ಬೇಸರ ತಾನಾಗಿತು, ಬೆದರಿ ಬಾಳ್ವ ಕುರಿಗಳ ಕಂಡು ಬೇಸರ ತಾನಾಗಿತು. What is this life am I leading? He started inquiring. All these sheep, morning till evening, they are only having fear of losing their life. What am I leading? I am also leading this same life. ಸಿಂಹವಾಗಿ ಬಾಳಬೇಕು ಎಂಬ ಆಸೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿತು, ಸಿಂಹವಾಗಿ ಬಾಳಬೇಕು ಎಂಬ ಆಸೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿತು. ಕಾಡ ಹುಡುಕಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಸಿಂಹ ಗುಹೆ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಂತಿತು, ಕಾಡ ಹುಡುಕಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಸಿಂಹ ಗುಹೆ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಂತಿತು. He was somewhere that father lion had put a small seed of truth within him. He got, like how every day we have that glimpse of the self. Every day we have that. Like that, this king, lion king, he said, you come whenever you want to. So this small cub, the small lion, he said, yes, I also want to become a lion one day. So he went in search of his father and stood in front of the cave of his father. ನೋಡಿ ಓಡಿ ಬಂದು ಸಿಂಹ ಬಾ ಹಿಂದೆ ಎಂದ, ಮಗುವ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮಗುವ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಕೆರೆಗೆ ಬಂದು ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ ನಿಂದ. Both of them went in front of a lake. They stood on the banks of the lake. ನೋಡು ಮಗು ನನ್ನ ಬಿಂಬ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಕಾಣು, ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತಿರುವ ನೀನು ಯಾರು ಪೇಳು. Look, this is my reflection. I am standing next to you and this is my reflection. And that is your reflection who's next to me. Then that is the point of realization when this lion saw himself in that lake. He saw his reflection. It was not different from his father's form. ಎರಡು ಸಿಂಹ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತಿರುವುದ ಕಂಡು ಸಿಂಹ ಮರಿಯು ಆನಂದದಿ ಘರ್ಜಿಸತೊಡಗಿತು. ಎರಡು ಸಿಂಹ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತಿರುವುದ ಕಂಡು ಸಿಂಹ ಮರಿಯು ಆನಂದದಿ ಘರ್ಜಿಸಲು ತೊಡಗಿತು. It started roaring with happiness. ಸಿಂಹ ಸಿಂಹ ಸಿಂಹವೇ ಕುರಿಯಲ್ಲ ನಾನು, ಭಯವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಚಿಂತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸತ್ಯವ ಕಂಡಿಹೆನು. ಸಿಂಹ ಸಿಂಹ ಸಿಂಹವೇ ಕುರಿಯಲ್ಲ ನಾನು, ಭಯವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಚಿಂತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸತ್ಯವ ಕಂಡಿಹೆನು. I am not this form. I am not this mind. I am the self. When we realize the self, that is the ultimate bliss. Just a story which makes us realize that we are not the self gives us so much of happiness. If we get really into that self and become and be that self, how much of joy will it give us? Once we find that truth, it is ultimate. Our job is to hold on to that when we realize it. We all know ourselves. We all know the self. It is not unknown. There are a group of 38 people in this group now. If we had not known the self, we wouldn't have understood whatever is being taught, whatever is being spoken here. If I speak in Spanish, if I speak in Japanese, or if I speak in any foreign language which you don't know, it will not make sense to any of us. We will just leave the group and go away. It's not making sense to me, we may say, and move away. But since we know the self, we're able to understand, yes, this is the self. I have to get back to it. If the lion cub didn't know that it was the lion, If it didn't know it was not the sheep, it would not have gone back to the cave to its father, saying, I am the Simha. It is for us to hold on. We realize it every day. Like I said earlier, we realize it every day in deep sleep. Bhagavan has given us that prasadam to get back to the self every day. That is why we are able to understand it and we want to go back to it, because he's given us the taste of it. But what do? It gets lost somewhere. This morning, Dilip sir was talking about Brahmaji, Swami Brahmananda. He says that about Manolaya and Manonasha, that in Manolaya, the Manas is in Laya. It can appear anytime, but Manonasha is different from Manolaya. The Manonasha, the Manas is destroyed. But Manolaya is like giving a shampoo bath to a pig. Give it a nice bath, what happens? It goes back into the gutter and makes itself dirty. Likewise, we get that prasada of the self, we get that taste of the self. When we get it, we should hold on to it instead of coming out of it. It is everywhere. Yes, Bhagavan says everywhere. The self, in the self, all of us are there. But since I have put myself apart from it, I see as myself as different, there arises a problem. But if I realize that I'm not different, if I lose myself, if I just let go of the thought that I am not this body, I am not this mind, then what remains is only the self. And by just being, Bhagavan was there. Was he afraid that I've lost myself? No, he was, by just being, he solved so many people's problems. So many people came to him with so many issues. He could talk to everybody. There was a monkey which came and showed her small baby to Bhagavan. Everybody asked, how can monkeys come and give their babies to you, and if we touch it, they just abandon the baby? And Bhagavan said, maybe they feel I am one of them. Likewise, the swan also said, I see swans everywhere. So when Bhagavan was sitting there, each one of us felt that he is mine. The cow felt that he is mine. Lakshmi could come and talk to him. Valli the deer went and talked to him. Jackie would sit in his presence, Jackie the dog, he would sit in his presence and meditate. There were so many monkeys who could meditate. How could it happen? Because Bhagavan was always in the self. He was not out of it any time at all. So what is our job? Is it okay to lead a life without attaining the self? Is it okay to just take life after life without getting back to the self? Many people may say, is this selfish? Self-enquiry, you sit and think about yourself. Isn't it selfish? Which is not selfish? We brush our teeth early in the morning. Is it not selfish? We have food every day. Is it not selfish? We take care of ourselves. Is it not selfish? Why self-knowledge alone is selfish? On the contrary, self-knowledge is the only selfless deed, because when we get back to that self, there is no other. There cannot be any selfishness, because there is no one to have become selfish. There is only the self. We realize that adhara, and that selfishness is lost. That is the most selfless deed. And Bhagavan says, Ganapati Muni and Murganar, many people have asked, what should we do to contribute to the independence of India? He said, inquire into yourself and be in the self. That is the best social activity you can do. Meaning you can contribute to the society. That's the best thing you can do. Anything, any solution you need for any problem, you get back to the self, then the solution is there. But do we have to do self-inquiry for a goal, for a solution for a problem? No. We have to do self-inquiry to get back to the self, to attain our true nature. How do we do this? Sadhu Swami, in his Dhyana Patir, he says, whenever a thought arises, question, to whom is this thought? Vritti adagopathava kelu, Bhagavan Ramana dhvaniya kelu. Vritti eluva kshanadale, yarigendu keluni. Heed the way to thought subsidence, hear the voice of Bhagavan Ramana. The very moment that thought arises, ask for whom it does arise. There was one dragonfly which came out from a hole in Virupaksha, near Virupaksha. And Bhagavan said, look at that dragonfly. One dragonfly came out. Within seconds, if you see, the whole air was filled with so many dragonflies. Bhagavan says, this is the example of thoughts arising from within. You allow one thought to arise, there'll be thousands which come out and you'll be lost in that thought world. What should we do? Whenever that thought arises, we have to question. Yarigendu keluni. Ask for whom it arises. Vritti nanage ಎನ್ನುವಾಗ ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಎಂದು ನೋಡು. ನಿಜ ರೂಪ ಕಂಡ ಮೇಲೆ ಎದ್ದ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಅಡಗುವುದು. As all thoughts arise for you, seek questioning, who am I? When the true self is seen, the rising thought will then subside. This is the path of inquiry which Bhagavan gives us. We know the question had arisen, for whom does this arise? So what is the answer? We get the answer saying, this thought is for me. Who is this I? Who am I? Is the next question we have to ask. What happens then when the who am I question is questioned? The other thoughts are gone. First of all, thoughts are not there because when the thought has arisen, we have asked for whom is this thought, and then it is for me. When I say for me, the thought is gone and only I am there. And then we ask, who am I? And at that point, we realize, Nija Rupa Kanda Mele, Yadda Vritti Adaguvudu. There is no thought at all. Every time this process has to be repeated. Whenever a thought arises, question to whom is this thought, and then it is for me, and ask, who am I? Don't answer that question, who am I? Because whatever you answer, if I say I am this body, that is a thought. Question to who is this thought? The thought is for me, then who am I? Wait for the answer to reveal. If an answer comes from within, I am this mind. That is a thought. Question, to whom is this thought? And then the answer says, it is for me. Then ask, who am I? So keep repeating this process, says Bhagavan. This is the path of enquiry. ಒಳಗೆ ಒಳಗೆ ನೋಡುತ್ತಲೇ ಪರಮ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಅರಳುವುದು, ಕಾಣುವ ಅರಿವ ನೋಡಲು ಅಭ್ಯಾಸವ ಮಾಡಿಕೋ. Looking within yourself, the supreme knowledge blossoms true. To see the consciousness that sees, keep practicing and gain victory. If you keep looking again and again, if you keep looking, ಒಳಗೆ ಒಳಗೆ ನೋಡುತ್ತಲೇ ಪರಮ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಅರಳುವುದು, the supreme knowledge blossoms. Bhagavan gives, like I earlier said about the gold. Muruganar Swami says in his song, ನನ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಬೇರಿಳಿಸಿ ನಿಂತೆ ನೀನು, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಲಿ ನಿನ್ನ ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು. When you keep seeing, ಚಿನ್ನದಿಂದೇಳುವುದು ಬಣ್ಣದ ಆಭರಣ, ಆಗಲೂ ಚಿನ್ನ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುವುದು, ಕರಗಿಸಲು ಅಳಿಯುವುದು ಆಭರಣ ರೂಪ, ಆಗಲೂ ಹೊನ್ನು ಹಾಗೆ ಇರುವುದು. You have to keep seeing. Whenever a thought arises, there is the self behind it. Like whenever a gold jewelry is there, the gold is present. Without the gold, the jewelry is not there. When you melt that form of gold, when you melt that earring or ring, any jewelry, is the gold lost? No, the gold is there even then. Then you make it into another shape, then also the gold is there. Then you again melt it, there also gold is there. The honnu is all the time there. Likewise, ಸುತ್ತ ಕಾಣುವ ಲೋಕ ನನ್ನಿಂದಲೇ ಎದ್ದು ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೈಯಳಿವುದು, ರೂಪಗಳು ಅಳಿದರೂ ನಾನೆಂಬ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆ ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಸತ್ಯವೂ ಆಗಿರುವುದು. The whole world rises from the self and gets back into the self. When this happens, the self is always there. So we can't say that we don't know the self. The self is known all the time. Without the self, there is no knowing also, because it is the only thing which is present. ಕಲಿವ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಎಲ್ಲವಲು ದೈವ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಮೊದಲದು, ಉತ್ತಮ ಕಾರ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಲದರಲು ಜ್ಞಾನ ನಿಷ್ಠೆ ಹಿರಿಯದು. Of every kind of learning earned, knowledge of supreme is foremost. Amongst actions of merit, the best of all is self-abidance. The best thing to do is to get back to the self. That is the ultimate thing which we have to do. Any learning which we do, any learning which we take, the supreme learning is the knowledge of the self. As I said in the beginning, without knowing the self, whatever knowledge is learnt, it is of no use. So what should we do? We should get back to that self and learn to be in that self-knowledge. To know the self is the ultimate learning. And jnana nishthe, self-abidance, is the best action we can do. So, when the abidance of the self happens, abidance into the self happens, there cannot be anything spoken after that. There is only the self. If I have to speak anything when the self is, when the abidance happens, again there is this thought. So, question, to whom is this thought? And then the answer is, it is for me. And who am I? Ultimate thing will be silence and abidance. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya, Sri Ramanarpanamastu. I would like to thank Vaniji and Vasudev sir for giving me this opportunity to share the knowledge given to me with all the satsangis. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.